afternoon, good morning, good evening, good morning, world. We are now getting light back into our lives just after the winter solstice. This is Naomi, creator of Positive Living Inspiration, and I couldn't be happier to have you here joining me today. It's exciting to be in the 12 days of hope. Help other people every day. Now, you know that we've been talking for 10 days and we're on day 10. We've gone through help others. Others need your kindness. People need creative adventures. We traveled around the world in museums. Everyday intentions where we created our own self-care. And then we talked about helping seniors, others needing our love with the charities that you chose who to donate money to. People need your wisdom. And yesterday, the amazing Gary Stewart. So as we spell help other people every day, that's to encourage ourselves and to push ourselves out just a little bit bigger than we thought we were going to be. Hope is what each and every one of us need because we don't know for sure about tomorrow. Now, our theme for today is particularly amazing because I'm going to share my screen. And what you're going to see is what's already been posted in Facebook. Day 10, December 22nd. Others can be inspired by others who overcome can inspire by example. Women are overcomers and they rise in pursuit of empowerment. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. If you haven't seen this before, this is your chance because today is going to be, oh, do you love technology? It just runs every direction no matter what you do, right? Everything we're going to do today is about rise. And what is that? Featuring 25 sparkling women, rise in pursuit of empowerment. Today, as our guest, we have the editor of this book. I couldn't be more excited to tell you. Sabine Matharu was born and raised in Austria. Now, how many of you have been to Austria? Put it in the chat. Yes, me. Her husband and two young children reside in London, England, where she has specialized for 8 years in helping spiritual female leaders have predictable sales, overcome their overwhelm, and implement to increase their online program effectiveness. Sabine loves the mountains, just like I do. She's climbed a huge virtual mountain with the publishing of the first of 2 international best-selling books called Rise, the one I just showed you, her very first one. Her second book, Joy, was equally successful, and when I have her on, she's going to show it to you. In fact, besides being a loving wife to her talented graphic artist husband and cheering on her children who are now 9 and 11, no longer the little cute 3 and 5-year-olds, are they? She invited me to contribute my chapter, and her second book, Joy, was equally successful. Sabine is a speaker. She's featured in large publications and has helped hundreds of women build their online businesses over the past 8 years. As an online TV host, she honored me with an interview as a successful author. How collaborating with Sabine helped build my speaking business through the book. Welcome all the way, Sabine Matharu from London. Yay!
Nice to be here, Naomi. Thank you for inviting me.
So I know it's afternoon or actually early evening in London, and you've got kids running around, and life in London right now is a bit stay-at-home business, right? So if you love Sabine, please put a chat and please put a heart in the chat, or if you just got to know her, because if you don't know her, you're going to know her after we ask a few questions. Okay. First of all, you're born in Austria. You live in the UK. When you moved to attend university and get your career started, how did that work? Because I believe you only had 1,000 pounds in your pocket. Tell us a little story about that.
Yeah, indeed. Well, that's now a long time ago. It's going to be 20 years in January, 2021.
Wow.
Yes, believe it or not. Well, you know, a lot of people actually ask me, why did you flee Austria, or why did you just kind of take your money and go? I said, well, actually, I just had graduated from university, as you do, right? We Austrians kind of grow up with that sort of the mindset of educate yourself, go to work, and then have a good job kind of thing, right? And I said, well, you know, I want to actually go and see the world. And that's when I packed my bags. I said, oh, don't worry, I'll be back in like 2 years or 1 or 2 years. I'll have a bit of work experience. I want to get to know, you know, different people. And because English was sort of my second sort of native language almost, I decided, yeah, I could go and find a job. And yeah, I just, whatever I had saved up from my student life, I just took, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to go and give it my best. And I'm sure my parents would have supported me in terms of financial, finances. And I said, well, actually, I don't want to. I would like to actually prove myself and be able to sustain and build my new life, or at least, have that experience for a year or two. But then obviously I bumped into my husband, and the rest is history.
Yay! Okay, so you married him, who is an amazing graphic artist. Let's see, shall we just show his amazing, beautiful picture? Okay, this is her husband. Don't get jealous. Um, Together, you created a family. And after the birth of your child, you were reluctant to go back to the corporate world. Tell us about what you were feeling. Were you overwhelmed? Did you have a backup plan? What was going on?
Well, I didn't really have a backup plan at first. It's just I faced going back to corporate. I was a senior manager back then, and my schedule was very, very busy. And I really, I'm a mom after all as well, and I wanted to see my child grow up. So I did go back for a while, but then I had my second child, obviously a little bit later, my daughter, and that's when I really decided, I don't really get to see them very much, and I'd really like to have a bit more of them. So what can I do that will make me happy, make them happy? That was my consideration, but at first I didn't really know what that would be. I just
Okay, so
knew
if you're
what.
relating to Sabine, give us a thumbs up. Let us know you're connecting. Let's hear more.
Yeah, as I said, it wasn't clear, what I could be doing, because obviously I was just a part of an organization doing a certain job up to that time. And I'm sure a lot of people that are tuning in are maybe in a sort of similar situation. And now I think this year, with all the pandemic, a lot of people are being pushed out of a job, and they may find themselves in a situation where they say, actually, I don't know what to do now.
Mm.
So that's when I really thought about, well, what are my strengths? Really, I didn't think about my weaknesses, because you have to actually build on your strength and think, what really lights me up every single day? And it was literally I was a leadership coach back then. I was doing a lot of trainings, and yes, I was doing a lot of process project type management, but the part that really I enjoyed all the time was helping other people become better people. And that's why I decided to become a consultant. So I've kind of always been a consultant in a sense of like a strategy consultant, but now I call myself a business startup and growth consultant, where I come in, help with strategy, but also making people, helping them to live a better life and to become better people and to see their potential.
And as a result of that, that's how I met you, because you were nominated for the Global Impact Award by the Evolutionary Business Council, which means that you have global impact and you're making a difference. And someone in your country nominated you for that award, which is a very, very, very nice. And then you decided to publish a book. That's a whole nother story by itself. And that's
Mhm.
when you did Rise. And look, here I am. My chapter is called Grandma on a Mission to Mend 1,000 Hearts. And that global impact made you become more compassionate towards all of us, because we are all overcomers. Every woman in this book, and there's 26 of them, beautiful women that tell their stories, and you put it all together with a really excellent team. Now, one of the things that you did that I thought was amazing is and it's something that I model also, so I really admire it. You put as part of your proposition that there's a charitable contribution. So you have here the Zephaniah offering, or the Zephaniah group, which offers free education to girls in rural Pakistan. And you also highlighted Mending 1,000 Hearts, which is my group, which provides critical care surgery for children who are born with defects. Now, both of those are, one's in Pakistan and Mending Kids is in 64 countries. What was the mindset, the desire to help the less fortunate? Where did that come from? And you're empowering people by creating sustainable and balanced living lives as a mom, as an entrepreneur, as a professional. Talk about that.
So, I mean, if you look at the world as it is right now and what it's become in 2020, there's so much that, we would love to change. I'm sure we do. But the question is, how much can we really change as an individual I would love to stop wars. I would love to bring peace into the world, but we can only do our part. And that's what I decided, just to do my part, because one of if we just do some small sort of things right around us, whatever we can do, we can actually create that ripple effect. So as we said, Naomi, we would have probably not met if I didn't do that book. And the book, by the way, was a total inspiration from, I believe, up there, universe, whoever you believe in, God has given me that mission to go and create that platform to help inspire others. So it helped, female entrepreneurs tell their stories, which probably would have never been able to do so on their own. And they had this platform and that community and that friendship, and obviously all the services around it in terms of publishing the book and the copywriting, the design. But the other side of the coin is obviously inspiring others. Whoever will get the book has all these amazing, inspiring stories. And it's so important to learn from stories. I actually feel it's more, reading stories is more inspiring than just reading a theory book that explains how to live a happy life. But if you hear, other people's stories, you're like, actually, I was in this situation. How did they get out of it? So that's what my mission was. And thirdly, also the charities. I mean, again, how often do you go to a supermarket and you see someone, asking you for money, begging for money? And I love to help every single one of them, but I also would love to empower these people at the same time. And there are charities that I would like to support in terms of making the world a better place. And I thought, what better way than, doing it with the books and, providing all the profits with the book, from the book, into the charities. That's my way of being able to give back in three different ways.
Right. And so if you love giving, put a heart in the comments, give us an emoji, because what Sabine's doing, if I understand this correctly, you publish the book, you put the charity in the back, and a portion of the profits goes to one of those charities. And I know because I was notified by Mending Kids that they'd received a check from England. I think that affects the whole world. I think that one amount of money, and I think you sent more than one, but an amount of money that goes into one person. For example, we have the charity for Mending Kids. $80 will pay the medicines for an entire year. That means that child can survive, doesn't have to go to the doctor, has the right medication. And that influences the family, which influences the bigger outside family, to the community, to the region. And this child's life being saved makes a huge difference. So your donation through the book is not just an amount of money, it actually changes a child's life and gives them a chance to survive. And we know that not all survive, but we also know that 1 in 100, I can't even do it, 100, zero, is that a zero? Okay, zero, wait, zero. 1 in 100 children are born with a child with a birth defect. And so that contribution might just seem like a number, but I'm telling all of you that's made a difference for a child's life. So we figure it's about 10,000 people that are influenced by saving one child's life. So very big, very big thank you. And that brings me to Joy, your second book. Can you hold that up for us? I want to see the cover.
Oh, yes.
I have my own copy. So Joy is Recipes for Abundance. And tell us, are these similar stories to the ones in Rise, or are they all new ones?
Yeah, so these ones are a different theme altogether. So yeah, I mean, there are it's a sequence. It's a sequel to the first book, and also has 25 female entrepreneurs. But this time we talked about how do they find joy in their life.
Exactly,
So
my favorite word.
Yeah, and the pictures are very different. I mean, what you've got there, Rise, is more about reaching for the stars and literally, rising up to the challenge and sort of bettering yourself. Whereas this is more like, what do we have right now? How can we be grateful for the things we have? And for example, I wrote about my childhood memories, and each author has got basically an image and a recipe for their abundant life on the page. So mine was here, Sunshine Tropicana, and I read it for you. It's, for me, abundance is 1 soft, luscious beach, 2 tablespoons of sugar-coated sweethearts, 5 scoops of silliness, 2 squeezy hugs, and unlimited juicy kisses.
Put some love in the chat for Sabine. Now, Sabine, you have a third book that's coming out and you are looking for authors. Can you give us a brief description of that?
Yeah, so once again, I was guided by the spirit as to what that would be, because I hadn't planned the books and the sequences. So I was guided this year at Easter to write a book about the shift that's been happening in 2020 and go and collect positive stories, things that people have experienced through the pandemic, potentially leadership, humanity, all these kind of heroes. Those are the kind of keywords that we want to put into, sprinkle throughout the stories. So yeah, I'd be really grateful if anyone knows of anyone's, story, heroic story, or stories of leadership, or different potentially organizations who had to shift very quickly, individuals who had, complete different outlook on life after the first lockdown potentially, or just generally, we have already a few stories about, how the family had shifted in a positive way, hopefully, because I'm sure we can find some really, really positive things. That's what we want to do and inspire.
Okay, so the name of the book is Shift. And, I stand for seniors who are ready to tell their stories, and they're ready to reach their dreams, and reach to the stars with God's help. And I know that a lot of times they have lived their career, they've done your education, and they may be retired, they may still be working, because we know through research that 87 is the new 65. In the United States, you can be retired at 55, and the retirement age to get government help is 65, but the average lifespan is now 87. So if that's true, there's lots of seniors with stories that haven't been told. So if you're a senior, or you have parents who are seniors who have a story that needs to be told, Sabine is the one that you want to connect with. And so you're going to want to get all the information on Christmas Day. So in closing, Sabine, I know that the tremendous isolation of the senior members of our community has been worse than everybody else. And if you had a recommendation to reach out to that vulnerable population, did you have anything in mind that you could help us with? Because you're living on a different continent than I am.
Well, I mean, I can only talk. I can talk about my parents. Obviously, they're very lucky to live in Austria near the mountains, so they always have a great escape. I think nature is a great escape. Just keep busy with going for walks, or maybe you want to tune into some online resources, read a great book. I think it's about keeping your mind away from those news. And I know it's difficult and we need to know what's going on, but that's what I've been doing, and it's really, really inspired me. And I've created so many other inspiring projects which I know we can roll out next year, like going into corporates where obviously remote working and mental wellness issues have been arising hugely. So when you're in this space, you can find your own little bubble and your own sort of wisdom, nuggets of wisdom, and build relationships. I think even if you can't see people, just have some Zoom calls and work out how
There
to
you
use
go.
them.
There you go. And that is the whole purpose of Wisdom Connection, that seniors would not be left alone, that they would have an opportunity to talk to each other a couple of times a month on a schedule, on a topic that's stimulating, and get calm in the middle of the chaos. Well, I want to thank you so much, Sabine, for joining us all the way from London, and from
Oh,
those who joined us from around the world. I want to remind you to love yourself, hug yourself, and make a smile to give away. That's the way we want to have our day, in a positive way. Thank you so much. See you later.